Hello, hello. I'm Strider, your host here at Author in the Headlights, and I want to thank you for joining us. And as always, I say if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and you won't miss a single episode. And this morning we have Risa August with us. Good morning, Risa.
Hi, Strider. I'm so grateful to be here. And you have the most amazing guests on your show. So I have to say, I'm a little bit like feeling like an imposter. Like, what am I doing here?
We do have some really cool guests. We've got from absolute beginner, just going to writing their first book, haven't even produced it yet, up through people that have published millions of copies, honestly. So everywhere in between, and not just authors. We've got anything to do with writing. We've editors and award systems and all kinds of things we talk about and talk to. So hey, we're glad to have you aboard.
Grateful to be here. Thank you.
Now, bumped into your work, you've got a book out called The Road Unpaved, and it has to do, it's kind of a life's journey. It is definitely a story about your travels from Canadian border to Mexican border uh, on bicycle. And that's the basis of the story. Now, tell us about how the story came about.
Yes. Well, I was diagnosed with a tumor at the base of my brain, and the tumor was causing a rare disease called acromegaly, or is causing a rare disease called acromegaly. And it completely sidelined me. I was an Ironman athlete, super fitness fanatic, and a healthy lifestyle. And suddenly I was confined to my sofa and these gnarly, tattered gray sweatpants that were all worn out on the hem. And I remember really having this moment of this is no way to live. And I have a choice right now in this moment. And I can feel myself I still get emotional thinking back to this moment of I have a choice. I could get off this couch and live fully, or I can stay here and die. And that's truly what it felt like to me. And so I made the decision to live. And so the first thing I did was pull out my dusty old bucket list, all those things that oh, I'll do that someday or, eventually. And I pulled out that list, and riding my bike coast to coast was on that list. And so I began like that day on that couch, I began looking for bicycle routes and found the Pacific Coast route from Canada to Mexico and signed up that day.
It is totally a neat story. I've read books of people that have walked it, teenagers by themselves, singular. When I was a teenager, I want to do that. I never had that accomplishment. I've done a lot of things in my life, but I haven't done that. But so you have a brain tumor and you decided to go bicycling, well, not coast to coast, border to border. Did it help your body or did it cause its own problems?
Well, there was this old determined part of me, and perhaps stubborn, and maybe a little rebellious, that was going to prove to everyone that this wasn't going to hold me back. I had doctors and people telling me I shouldn't, or I can no longer, you won't be able to do that anymore. And I decided that, well, I get to make that decision. I get to choose how I move forward, with this new information, if you will. And so it was that determined part of me that was like, I'll show them. But I think it turned out to be more for me than anyone else. Like, I'll show me what I can do.
And I think it probably worked. You're here, you've done so many things. I find was really interesting, though, was that you actually named your tumor. Now, that has got to be just a little bit weird.
Yes. And that's a new part of me that I embrace, my weirdness. But yes, I was doing I was getting my certification in the modality of Gestalt, which is a holistic type of coaching or therapy, if you will. Uh and so my mentor was like, why don't you start talking nicer to your body? You know, you want to heal, be kind to it instead of cursing it and fighting against it. And she said, well, why don't you name your tumor? And I was like, you're ridiculous. I am not going to do anything like that. And I remember driving in my car one day and I start testing out different names for my tumor and found that I often did talk to myself. Um, and so now Bubba, my tumor, has kind of become this I don't know, another part of me that, perhaps can talk some sense into me during those challenging moments.
Oh, well, I hope that works good. I talk to myself all the time too, but usually in the negative. We tend to do that. I'm a guy, I tend to be guilt oriented. So if I goof up, I would scold myself, does it work? I hope it does something positively. But down to your Gestalt training. Now, I know the word Gestalt. That is kind of like everything falls into all the knowledge you have falls into a concatenation of all this data that falls in. You go, duh, the light bulb pops on from all that data. How does that work with what you're doing?
Yeah, it's pretty layered. And so for any listeners out there, Gestalt is a German word that loosely means wholeness. And I remember being so compartmentalized and rigid and routine and structured. The way I used to be. And then post diagnosis, that was all out the window. And I had to start embracing all the parts of me as a whole because I was no longer the same person. I would never be the same person again. So I could either curse her or I could embrace her. And I decided to embrace her. And it really helped me understand um, the importance of treating the whole person and how people walking around with pituitary tumors or chronic illness or any kind of disease or adversity or challenges, the whole person needs to be addressed. And so this mental health aspect became an extremely important part and plays a big role in my work and patient advocacy and through inspirational speaking and in my writing.
All right. Now, did the ride itself become therapeutic just because, or what did you gain in the end from it?
Well, I definitely didn't end up with what I thought I was going into this ride for. I started off with the mentality of this is a soul healing journey for me. I'm doing it on my own, and I don't want anyone's help because I'm out to prove to the world I don't need anyone or anything. And that all changed. And through the characters who were actual people I met and connected with along the way, it changed me and my mindset around how I was viewing the way I was moving forward with this. And it was still that old determined Rissa. But what I learned from this is, I think I gotta let go of that and start really stepping into kind of this new chapter or this down this new road.
So that's all been done. You're an award-winning author, by the way. That book has won awards, so it's done well. But after the process, how are you now? Are you doing better or worse? What's your prognosis?
Yes. So I still live with Bubba. He's the rest of him is inoperable, so he decided he was not retiring and and he's gonna stay with me. And so, I will always live with this disease and it'll always have its challenges. But I also have this beautiful mindset and gift of living in spite of it and like savoring life and it's so much sweeter and I truly cherish all the things I get to experience in this life, good or bad. On that sofa that day when I decided to live, it meant embracing all of it, all the good with the challenges and the not so good. So,
I like that.
mhm,
We all live only as long as we live. We have no idea how long that'll be. Short life, long life, something can happen, our illness, injuries. Um, but it's what we make out of that. What do we make out of our life every day? Because you could be gone tomorrow. I could be gone tomorrow.
yeah,
And it's what we do. I had a speaker, Mark Berridge, Australian, that was on the show last year, and he also, as an author, wrote a book, A Fraction Stronger, and it's about his injury, accident that just about ended him, and his growth back from that, and the strength that he gained from it. And now he's a speaker as well as an author. As you are now a speaker also. Uh,
yeah.
so I could recommend her for all of you out there listening that might need a speaker on how to do better. What is that your talk actually about?
Yes, well, it's more about not limiting ourselves. And oftentimes, the constraints we feel in our life are self-imposed. Um, but it takes some stepping back and shifting your lens a little bit, shifting your perspective to truly see um, how you might look at what you're facing differently. And so that's when I stopped viewing obstacles as roadblocks. They're simply something to navigate or an opportunity to pivot. And so yeah, don't limit yourself. And I just and I'll let you in on a little secret, but I will be giving a TEDx talk at the end of August, which I'm very
Awesome.
excited about. So
Awesome. All right. I'll look forward to that. Okay, Riza August, I want to thank you for joining us. We're running out of time. Your book will be available through GermanPublishing.com's bookstore, as wherever else you can find it. And it is out there available. What more can I say? I want to thank you for being with us. A short time today, but it intrudes into your day. Thank you for spending your time here at Author in the Headlights.
thank you for connecting, Strider. It was wonderful to be here.
You betcha. And for the rest of you, we want to thank you for spending your time with us. And until next time.